I'd like to turn your mind to the independent Children's Monitor Report, Minister. So there's, it's not a good read, but and I'm sure you're familiar with it. So, but I just want to outline a couple of things very quickly and then ask you to respond to them. So, what it's found is that for Māori children, or for Māori, particularly Māori children, a number, quite a significant number, have been through the oranga tamariki system, and therefore are more likely to be hospitalised because of self-harm, like 34%, I think was the figure quoted, and in terms of 34% of attempts over the 12 months. How will you respond to that, Minister? I think it's right in your purview. Given your opening statement, your job is to keep children safe. My inquiry is specific to Māori children, to keep them safe as Māori children and not as any other type of children. They are Māori children. So I'm interested to your response to that. Should I go to a sup now, Mr. Chair, or just
we'll hear
wait for a response? Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for that question, because yes, that is really concerning, that our young people are harming and hurting themselves, and I do appreciate that is quite alarming. It's alarming to myself. But we have to look at all the contributing factors in this. We can't, the Independent Children's Monitor can only look at the contributing factor when it comes that child is in oranga tamariki care. There are other contributing factors to these young people being in that situation or that circumstance prior to coming to the attention of oranga tamariki. We have to look at all aspects of the contributing factors to the mental health and the well-being of our young people. And when we look at prevention, that's where I think we can make a big difference in this space. When we see a young person out in the community across the Children's Agency, not just oranga tamariki, that is in a circumstance where they might be in a harmful situation or a home where they are being abused or neglected, that it is dealt with a lot quicker, so that young person doesn't end up in OT care and end up in a mental state where they do want to hurt and harm themselves. So there's multiple contributing factors to that. And unfortunately, oranga tamariki is the last stop. So a lot of these young people do come to oranga tamariki pretty broken and pretty devastated with what they've been through when they've come to oranga tamariki. We can do the best that we can to put supports around them, which is why we invest a lot in the supports for these young people, and also support the caregivers to deal with the behaviours that come with that, to make sure that our caregivers have the tools that they need to deal with that also. So this is not just about residents, this is also about caregivers. And so that's why I do have a focus around how we support our caregivers to deal with the behaviours when it's coming into their homes.
Māori, when we get a supplementary.
Yes, if I may. Minister, do you accept that intergenerationally for Māori, that all of the harm over hundreds of years, if I can, that absolutely and undoubtedly has an impact on the way in what is occurring for our mokopuna, our whānau today. So when you have that sustained oppression, then you will land where you will land, and so which is part of the result of what we're dealing with when our children are in great harm. So do you accept that this is living in poverty, forced into living in poverty, forced to be deculturated, so to be disconnected from everything that is fundamentally Māori, like language, all of those things? Do you accept that those are part of a sustained oppression that now what we're dealing with, in fact over some years now actually, is part of what Māori now particularly have to contend with?
What I would accept is that moving forward, we need to have a real good focus on our young people and what their needs are today.
Moving forward
and we need-
requires an understanding of what has just occurred in the recent past, let alone a sustained past. So to assume that you can wipe a clear slate and then let's just trot on and put up a boot camp or remove 7AA, Minister, it's naive to think that you can ignore sustained oppression and deculturation particularly means that you can move forward or say it as casually as you just did.
But all I'm responsible for is looking forward, making sure that the young people that come to the attention of Oranga Tamariki and are in a situation where they are being neglected or abused or in an unsafe situation, that we are making sure that we are putting the supports based on their needs. These are young people that have been through an awful lot, and we need to be looking towards.
Are these Māori children, Minister? I want to turn your mind to Māori children.
We can just hear the response, please, Māori Mino.
Whilst I appreciate that you want to just speak about Māori children,
I do, and I want you to.
And I'm not going to. Because
you see, there's the issue, because then you are assuming they're the same as everyone else, and we are not.
Well, I don't accept that. And
yes, clearly. And that's where you're failing.
Māori Mino, this is not an argument, this is a question and answer
And
session.
I'm making a statement, and I'll stand by the statement. I don't accept that. I accept that I am responsible for every child that comes to the attention of Oranga Tamariki and making sure that their needs are met. It doesn't matter what ethnicity those children are.
It has to matter, Minister, and that's where I need to object.
Māori Mino, we need to hear the answer. We need to hear the answer.
As repulsive as it is,
we need to hear the answer, Māori Mino.
as disparaging, as disrespectful as it is.
Māori Mino, this is not appropriate. I said I want to hear the answer.
Yeah, I'm responsible for all children that need help and care, all children that need support, all children that are in a circumstance where they need support wrapped around them and their families. I am not going to separate out people by their ethnicity. I'm not going to separate people out in that way.
Can I ask you why?
Yeah.
As a sub to your response then, why?
Because I am responsible for all children that come to the attention of Oranga Tamariki and meeting the needs of each child and what their needs are. I'm not going to box a child into how I think
So culture is a box, Minister?
I think that we are going to be asking those young people what they need and then putting that support around them.
What if they said to you, Minister, I want you to...
Māori Mino, you've made your point and we've heard the Minister's answer.